Mr. Ranjha is back. Today we have Husnain, a young entrepreneur with us. Husnain, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming down here, Husnain. Husnain, you've got a really good story, and I was keen to get you on here. Bespoke marketing. You're a young guy, a young entrepreneur, and tell us your story.
Yeah, so I got into marketing by doing a degree, so that was a simple way in. But before that, I think talking about how I got into marketing, whilst I was in sixth form, I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be sort of a pilot at one point, a dentist at another point. Nothing really stuck. I didn't really know which direction to take. And then I was fortunate enough to do a little bit of work with Burnley Football Club in their marketing and media department. And that's what solidified it for me, that I wanted to go down the route of marketing.
So how old were you when you did this?
I was about 17.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So with Burnley Football Club, and that's when you first got your taste of it.
Yeah.
And you thought, I want this.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Wow.
It was all show. Burnley were in the Premier League. You had the big players. I think I sort of went in. I did the interviews. I interviewed Sean Dyche. At that point, he was at Burnley Football Club. They were playing United at that time.
Wow.
Whilst I was working there. So yeah, it was all glitz and glam, I think, that drew me into the media department. But then wider, when I explored that, it was more marketing that I took a liking to.
Fantastic. So you did that. Then what happened next? What was the next step for you?
So then it was university. I went down the conventional route. Went to Northampton University initially. I got a few unconditional offers from University of York and Manchester University as well. But I decided to go ahead with Northampton. Stayed there for a couple of years, but it wasn't sort of the right fit.
If you don't mind me asking, what was your degree in?
Marketing management.
Marketing management. Yeah. Okay. A bit of a side. Do you think degrees are worth it in this day and age?
I think it's slowly phasing out. When I was doing it, there was still a high demand. I knew I wanted to work in marketing. I didn't know. I knew I wanted a business at some point in life, but I didn't know how quickly I could get there. So the best route for me was to get a degree, because any job that you'd apply for, any marketing job, you had to have a degree at that point. It wasn't long ago, but it was still a requirement for the bigger companies. But now I think it's phasing out. We'll get to a stage where it's not required, and we're already at that stage for certain companies, but also for certain other companies, you'll have apprenticeships, degree apprenticeships. That's now becoming the norm. So it will phase out, I do think.
Okay, so you think the value of degrees is really losing, especially with the cost of it, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the next step for you then? You did degree in marketing and then?
Yeah, so halfway through my degree, COVID year, I decided to move to York. So just as we went into lockdown, that was my final few months in Northampton. Went into lockdown, put a transfer request in for York to complete my degree there. I had a few opportunities that came up for a sort of a placement combination with a placement year and some work opportunities. So I decided to transfer across, and we were still in lockdown the first few months that I started my degree there, or completed my degree there.
Wow. So this is during lockdown?
Yes.
Because at that time, no one knew which way it was going to go.
No.
We didn't know whether or not this was the end of civilization or anything. But yeah, so it's quite a brave decision for you to take over there.
Yeah.
Then what happened next?
So completed my degree. Whilst I was completing my degree, I looked out. I went out into the community. I went out to local businesses, and I started doing bits of marketing work.
Wow. Okay. So how did you go out to local businesses?
LinkedIn, networking events, I think.
Right.
I made quite good connections early on. I was connected with the Sheriff of York at that point.
Wow.
Quite early on, and that opened a lot of doors. So I understood the benefit of networking. So I went to networking events. I had a mentor who I came across on LinkedIn. Back then, LinkedIn was better than it is now, I think. So it still had some legs. We still connected with a lot of people, and really just messaging companies on LinkedIn and requesting a meeting and saying, look, I'm studying marketing here in York. Can I do a couple of days work with you a week? And that's how it started. So I went from company to company that way.
That's a really good idea. Do you think, how big a factor was that in how you started off, do you think?
Pivotal.
The right.
biggest factor was that I went out there and I sought out these opportunities. and got these opportunities. And I'm grateful for the people and the companies that gave me the opportunities to do that. It opened my eyes, because learning is one thing. You can learn all you want, and sometimes the lecturers haven't even done marketing at any point in their lives. So actually seeing it in the real world, because you could have a change in heart, you could say, oh, actually, this is not for me. It's not what the course is about. So yeah, it was massive. It was massive for me.
Right. So any young people watching this here today, this is very important for you to know. This is, and this is why I'm so thankful you decided to come on today, where that's a valuable bit of information. Mm-hmm. You could have done everything right. That one point, if you'd have missed that,
yeah,
none of this would probably have happened.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the sort of advice that I give to anybody. And even my brother, he's studying at university currently, and I'm pushing him to go out there and network and sort of get some work, because you're not going to get anywhere, especially in this day and age. If you've just got a degree, there's thousands of people who have that. So to stand out, you've got to go push yourself.
It's got to be networking. I think once people have met you, it makes a difference, doesn't it, really?
100%, yeah. When people meet you, they know what you're about. It's face to face, and I know that's sort of going away now, especially because of COVID. It started going away, and in some portions it is coming back, but not to the degree it was before. But when people meet you actually face to face, it's a completely different impression that they get, and you understand what they're about.
Fantastic. So you did this, you made some contacts. What happened next for you then?
I graduated, and whilst I was doing my dissertation, I applied for jobs because I knew I wanted to stay in York. So the only way to do that was get a job to be able to pay rent and bills and things like that. So I was applying for jobs, and before I even graduated, I got offered a role at a global market leader in risk compliance ESG. As a marketing coordinator. So that's my first job offer whilst I was completing my dissertation. And literally a week after I completed it, I started working there full time.
Okay, excellent. Then what happened next?
So this is where I knew I wanted a business, but I didn't know when the right point was. Do I have to get some experience in the industry first? And that was how I saw it. Get some industry experience, whether it's a year, 2 years, and then go out by yourself and have your own business. Whatever field that's in, maybe marketing is a good starting point, but go out there and get some experience. So it was things like this that happened that kind of pushed me along the way to starting my business. So unfortunately, because of company restructure, and we had a change in CEO at that point in time, so about 6 months into it, so the company restructure meant that a lot of the departments were let go. I was the newbie in, first one out, easy one out.
Oh dear.
So that was my first setback. And in my head, little things like this started pushing me towards starting something for myself, where I'm not going to be pushed around because of company decisions.
So how long had you worked there for?
About 6-7 months, so not long.
And were you thinking this isn't for me then at that stage as well?
Partially, because my issue was the work that we were given, I'd get it done quite quickly. So I'd do a week's worth of work in 2 days, and because there's no more work to do, I was sat there twiddling my thumbs. And 3 days of the week I was just sat there, and it was quite, I don't know, the routine, the 9 to 5 and the sit at the desk wasn't for me. And I started realising that early on. Okay,
so now the company's so you've parted ways with the company.
Yeah.
Then what was the next step for yourself?
Looking for another company, because I still wasn't ready. I knew I wanted to get there, but it still wasn't clicking in my head. But at the same time, I was in two minds: starting a business by yourself or going with somebody else. And at that time, I thought, actually, let me look to try this with somebody else. Let me join forces with somebody and start a business. Doesn't have to be in marketing again. It could be in any space. But that opportunity wasn't really presenting itself. And it was, you speak to people, and when you don't have that click, when you don't trust them enough to start a business with, it's never going to happen. So I started working again in marketing, this time for about 10 months, for a company in the hospitality space, doing marketing A to Z, completely everything to do with marketing I was doing it. And it was for two hotels at the same time. So that was my next stint as being employed.
And how did you find that?
overwhelming, a lot of learning,
Right.
because the resources weren't there, really. Lack of resources meant that I had to teach myself how to do everything. I taught myself how to edit, how to do websites, make websites, edit websites. It was great for me to learn those things, and I'm grateful that I did, because otherwise I wouldn't know how to make a website, but now I do, using Adobe softwares and all various different softwares. So it was a lot of learning, but it was, again, very limiting, and the 9 to 5 was very tedious for me to sit at desk every single day.
But I think with most young people today, the first foot in the door is the hardest bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's most crucial as well. And you did well to get there, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's about finding the opportunities. It's not going to come easy. I had bits where I was searching for jobs for 3-4 months, and you get 2 responses back, and that's the way it is, and I think it's getting worse now.
Yes.
But you've got to keep going, and you've got to keep pushing yourself to find those opportunities.
Right, okay, so what happened next then? So you're working there, how long were you there for?
About 9, 10 months.
Okay.
And then an opportunity came about, because I knew I wasn't going to get any career growth there. It was very limiting. Limited budgets, that was all I was going to ever do. If I stayed there, maybe I'd get a change in title, but what I was doing was going to be the exact same. I wasn't going to be managing anybody. I wasn't going to be sort of working my way up the ladder, as it were. So I started sourcing out opportunities, and I then found an opportunity as a marketing manager. So I worked my way up to marketing manager at a remote company based out of London.
Okay.
And that was it was in the retail space. So I worked there for about, again, 9-ish months.
Right, okay. So you're doing well at this stage. You got your foot in the door. Then you went to somewhere for a more senior role.
Yeah.
So at what point did it hit you? This 9 to 5 isn't working for me.
Well, it was always playing in my head. And I kept going because whilst I was doing this, I was still working on other avenues. I was still looking. I did the branding for my website. I started up my website for my own marketing agency. I was building connections to start that. So I was taking the steps in the background.
So you were making connections. Were you going to networking events, or what kind of things were you doing?
Yeah, so I was still going to networking events. That's one thing that's been a constant. Regardless of where I'm working, always go out and network, because there's no conflicts of interest in networking and meeting people. So I went out there, still going to networking events, online ones, offline ones, all sorts, just meeting new people.
So for any young entrepreneurs who are watching this and who are looking to have your kind of success, would you always say to them, just keep networking?
That is the key, and that's what I was lucky enough to do at the start, because my contacts told me to do that. And they said, go to networks. They told me the value of it. I didn't see it straight away. And there will be events where you go to and you're not meeting anybody. It could be completely rubbish. You go there and nothing comes out of it. But you are meeting people. And to keep that flow going is vital.
And how did you find out these networking events? Was it easy enough for you to go around, say hello to people, introduce yourself, and just talk about things, or did you have to sort of get out your bubble a bit?
I'd never done. I can speak to anybody, and I can speak for a very long time. I can talk for England, but going to strangers in a room, I didn't know what the way to do it was, because you've got a room full of people are in groups. You're turning up by yourself. There's already about 50 people there, and people are paired off in 2s and 3s and groups. So you literally insert yourself into a group, say hello and introduce yourself. And once I learned that that's what I needed to do, I started working the room like that, just rocking up to groups, saying hello, introducing yourself, and asking about them. And that's how I did it.
Fantastic, excellent. So you were still networking on the side whilst working at this job in London.
Yep.
What happened for you next?
The next step was, again, unfortunately, company restructure.
Right.
So twice in the space of just 3 years. And it was very hard hitting at that point, because then came the question of stability. Am I going to keep getting pushed around? Is the economy going to dictate every place that I work? Is it going to dictate every outcome? Is it always going to switch like this and this quickly? I did work there for a while. It was my longest serving place that I worked at full time. So I wasn't expecting it. But again, things like this do happen.
Absolutely. I think, especially when you're fairly recent from being a graduate, and when you're the first one in, the first one in will always be the first one out as well.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was very fortunate. Then what happened for you next?
So then I sort of pushed myself to build on my business idea a bit more. So I think I had a gap of a couple of months there. I still applied for jobs because I still had rent to pay. I couldn't just sit there and say, let's just try this and see if it works. So I carried on applying for jobs. At the same time, I networked again, pushed myself even further, and spoke to connections, messaged people, just messaging people. And again, 10 people won't respond, but the one person will. And that's what it's all about, not getting let down by sort of sending requests out there and messaging people. Knowing that a lot of people aren't going to respond is the key thing. Maybe because people don't have time, or they see you and maybe they aren't going to get any value from you, and that's why they're not responding. But everyone has a different motivation. So just keep going, keep pushing through, and I still carried on applying for jobs. And that's when I actually, the first point was I applied for a job at Aviva in their marketing department. That was my dream job when I left university, because of the stature of the company,
right,
and the career opportunities there, because you can progress really, really high up, and there's a lot of support there. So I got that job. I applied for it before when I freshly graduated, but I didn't get it then. So it was my second or third time, I think, applying, and I got it.
Well done.
But then at the same time, a few days later, I landed my first client. So then it was a question of, what do I do? Do I take this job and I know I'm going to get a sustainable paycheck and I'm going to work my way up all the way to the top? Or do what I've always wanted to do and start my business, take my client? It's unstable, it's just one client, but do I take it or do I take the other route? And I decided to go ahead with business, and that's how.
Wow. So here you are, you're a young lad, you're living away,
yeah,
and you're paying your own rent,
yeah,
there's bills to be paid,
yeah,
and you've got the dream job you've always wanted. You've got that one client in,
yeah,
and you decide to go down the road of being a business. That takes backbone. Well done. So what happened next?
So then started working with this company, my first client, and along the way carry on networking, carry on building connections, and start building that client base. So yeah, from one to two and to the next, and it started from, that's how it all started, and started sort of growing from there, really.
So you must look back at that moment in life and think that was a pivotal moment.
Yes.
Where you had two paths in front of you.
Yes.
And you chose, I'm going to, rather than being the 9-to-5 corporate life,
Yep.
it's going to be, I'm going to start my own business.
Yeah, exactly that. And it was a terrifying decision to make.
Absolutely, I can imagine. Yeah. And how quickly did you start picking up clients after that? Other clients?
Not the quickest. It wasn't the quickest thing to do. But again, pulling on connections that I've had for a long time, messaging them, throwing out ideas there, building what I offer, building my offering, and sort of, I think one of the most difficult things that I had at the start was I didn't know how to price things because I'd never done it before. I'd never thought about it. And I got on the internet, rang a few agencies and asked them what their approximate prices were, did a bit of market research that way, and then set my prices below the market rate. Because I was brand new, I didn't have any case studies. I'd never really worked for anybody else as an agency. So I set my price below the market rate, and really pushed myself out there.
You're doing a fantastic. How old are you at this stage over here then?
25, 26.
25, 26. And you're beginning to get multiple clients on board at this stage?
Yes. Yeah.
And at what stage did you think, at what stage did you realise I've made the right decision rather than going on the corporate route? Sorry. So Husnain, at this stage, you've got your first few clients, and at what point did you realise I'd made the right decision rather than going down the corporate road?
I think it was never. I don't think I'll ever get there really, because it's not a straight road. There'll be ups and downs, and when there are ups, you're thinking, "Oh, this was a great decision. I made the right decision." And when there are lows, you're like, "Actually, it might have been easier if I'd gone down the other route. I could switch off at 5 o'clock, or I could switch off on the weekends, and I could take 28 days or 30 days or whatever it is, holiday in the year." Whereas it's not as simple as that right now. I'm working late into the evenings. I'm working especially at the start, I was working weekends, I was working into the evenings. I didn't take a break for months on end. And that takes a toll. But you learn to sort of manage your time better as you go along. So it's never been, oh, that was the right decision and it stayed that way.
And I'm guessing you're still going out, networking, building up your base of contacts.
Yeah. That's again, that's what got me to where I am. So that's the one constant that I have to, even if I'm not feeling it, I've got to push myself to go out there and to network. Yeah.
Right. And I'm guessing you're still going out there, picking up more clients. At what stage do you think you're going to start looking to hire people, or maybe offshoring, or seeking some sort of assistance?
Yeah. So I did have in bits and pieces where I employed people. So I had a few salespeople at one stage.
Okay.
To sort of help to expand quicker. I had a social media person taking care of marketing activity. So I could focus on other areas. But yeah, I think it's about, I don't know when the right time is. I think you have an indication where you can't physically do the work anymore. Right. But also get into a place where you can hire somebody who knows more about a certain area than you do. It's always about hiring people who know more than you in other areas. So sales wasn't my strong suit. And that's why I employed salespeople who knew what they were talking about, and they were better than me at that. So it's about hiring skills that are better than you, that you don't know, and that will help you sort of expand better and quicker.
And how did you find that? So you're hiring. You've started a business now, and you're fairly fresh out of university. You've started a business. You're hiring people now, and how did you find that? Was it as simple as that, or were there any problems involved? Or
a lot of problems.
Right.
Because I've managed people before whilst I was working my 9 to 5, but it's different managing people for your business. You have a lot more care for the money that's going out, because you're paying them monthly. Yeah, you're paying them monthly wages. Seeing that go out, and if the work's not done, it hits harder. So knowing where to set boundaries, setting up again routine catch-ups and regular catch-ups with them, making sure they are meeting their criteria. And again, how do you work bonus structures? So there's a lot to sort of think about, but you learn as you go along, and that's the world of business for me. I've learned more in the year and a bit working as an entrepreneur than I did or I would have 3 years working in the corporate world.
Wow. So in terms of the services you offer, did you expand it or do it differently, such as packages or so on? So tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so initially it was seeing what the client wanted. But again, I learned very quickly, if you don't have sort of packages or offers, nobody knows what they're getting from you.
Give us an example of the kind of things you can offer your clients.
So I can offer social media marketing. I can offer strategy, because again, companies don't have a clue that that's something that should be done first. Yeah. Otherwise, they're just trying something. It doesn't work. Move on, and it doesn't work. And that's the downfall of a lot of companies. Social media marketing is something that I offer. Website creation, strategy, email marketing is a very strong point for us at Bespoke Marketing. So email marketing research shows that it has over 2,000% ROI. So nobody's leveraging that. That's the issue. People think it's dead. People are very quick to kill off areas of marketing that, if done right, they actually work.
Right.
So that's a very, very strong point for us. So yeah, I wasn't listing that this is what I did, and I learned very quickly that I needed to do that. I tried putting prices on there, but then I reverted back because my idea was, I've worked with agencies before for companies that I've worked for, and they all are very rigid in what they offer. The structure is very rigid. So for example, if you sign up with an agency, it's 3 posts a week on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok, and that's it. If you ask to add in an extra one, they have to take it out of next week's quota. So what I wanted to do was make it very bespoke, make it very, very much what the company needed. That's what I'll offer, and I'll price it up accordingly.
So when you're saying social media marketing, would you go out there and make the content for them sometimes as well?
Yeah. So making content is what I do. Filming, editing, videos, pictures, writing up the posts, thinking about what goes behind it, the captions, everything that you could think of when it comes to making a post or posting something out there. I take care of it all, yeah.
So, Husnain, tell us the most successful client you've had. I mean, don't give us the name of the client, but where you turned it around from really got some good leads in.
Yeah, so I've had a few achievements, but I think I separate them from my most successful campaign. Like, I worked with Cartier, I worked with Microsoft Azure, PayPal.
Wow.
So I've worked with big names.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you. But most successful campaign was a client in the construction industry. And they were bringing in monthly. They were bringing in about £400,000-500,000, and well, that was over a 10-month period. And with our email marketing, and that was going back a bit, they were paying £5,000 on SEO Google Ads,
yeah,
to get that. So they were getting £500,000 over a 10-month period by paying £5,000 a month. So a lot of money being spent.
Yeah.
So we came in, turned it around with email marketing and a little bit of social media marketing. And over a 10-month period, we tripled their revenue to 1.6 million.
Wow, well done.
From just those two elements, mainly email marketing.
You've got some big name clients as well, you just mentioned over there.
Yeah.
Right. How did you get them?
So that's when I was working for companies before. They worked with, for example, a company in the retail sector. They worked previously with Royal Mail,
right?
And I was managing that account. So when I started my own company, first thing I do is drop them a message. This is what we do. Do you need any services? These are the results that I got for you whilst I was working at that company. Do you want to come over to us?
Right. Any young entrepreneurs watching this, I'm hearing Husnain say crucial thing after crucial. He's making crucial points over here, that crucial decisions he's made that have steered his life to being, in the direction it is. That was a very good decision to make over there. It's a lot of get up and go required over there, a lot of backbone required.
Yeah.
But well done for that. So, and you landed some big name customers as a result, clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And there's no other way to do it, really. You just gotta message people. You're going to get told no. You're going to get asked why, but you've got to trust in your ability to deliver. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. And is there any new packages you're looking at, or any new services you're looking at offering, or?
So I am offering the new one that I came about with was I think it was looking at the market again, because yes, you've got things that work, but you've got to go out, do some market research again. And stay up to date with what is out there and what people need. So went out there again, looked at companies and looked at startups. Startups, when I was a startup, thinking about it then as well, and asking questions. What can companies afford each month? Because I can charge £1,000 plus per month on a retainer, not a 12-month retainer, nothing silly like that, but they have to sustainably be able to pay for at least 3 months to see any results.
Absolutely.
Companies can't do that. They can't afford to do that, especially startups. So I went and I started thinking, putting pen to paper. And one thing that I could have afforded was a few £1,000s, a one-off cost. So what can I package up? How can I provide value for startups as a package? And that was when I thought of a strategy. So a 6-month strategy that they can follow, and that they can later bring us in when things are going well. They can bring us back in and us to execute that strategy. But to really break it down for the client, this is your target market, this is your ICP, this is your USP, and really break it down. If you're doing ads, these are your keywords to include. So that's an offering now where we break it down, we give them their brand guidelines. Use these colors, this exact hex code for the color, this exact font for the subheadings, and separately for the main text. So all of these things combined into one document that gives them a step-by-step sort of a strategy over a 6-month period, trials how to test, how to do ads, and how to sort of see if they are working, what sort of areas to look out for. To track your marketing effort, so that as a package for 6 months at a one-off cost. So that's something that the market needs, that startups will be willing to sort of pay for, because they have that sort of one-off ability to pay that.
Very impressed. Very impressed. Now, after that, you also said you were doing lectures as well and giving out information about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in that? Tell me more about this.
Again, networking.
Right.
So you can say right place, right time, but if you're constantly putting yourself in that position to be in the right place, when an opportunity comes along, nothing's going to slip by.
Very good point.
Yeah, so when, again, networking event, it was an online one. Didn't realize it was an incubator platform in Dubai for startups. And they onboarded 15, 20 startups per sort of 6 months, and they went through a cycle with them. And I went onto that, logged into that, and sat there and listened to everybody, and thought, yeah, I am looking. This was at the point where I was still working in the retail sector. So I was thinking, I'm not really a startup, so is this relevant to me? How can I make the most of it? And after the event, I messaged the owner and said, look, went to your event. Is it good to have a catch up? Because he was in Dubai. I was in York. So I said, let's have a catch up over Zoom. And it was around then that he set up a call. I had to chase him a few times. But again, being relentless, just keep going. Keep messaging. You might annoy people, but at the same time, you don't ask.
That's a very good point. Keep going. Relentless. Yeah.
So yeah, messaged him, and we set up a call. And instead of me joining as a startup, I joined on the other end as somebody who knew about marketing and could give valuable insights to these people that these startups that they had onboarded onto their program. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And were you giving? So you're giving lectures online like this, yeah?
Yes, online lectures. So I went in front of the group, just gave lectures about email marketing, about social media marketing, how to set up a strategy, the importance of it, because I think marketing is very misunderstood. It's a very misunderstood area. Every company in the world needs marketing. I was speaking to today actually, I was speaking to a charity in York, and they have a budget for marketing. And you wouldn't think charities are marketing, or some may not think, but every single company in the world needs marketing. Without it, nobody knows about you. Whether that's sort of posting on TikTok, it's marketing. Whether it's sending a flyer out or a leaflet out, it's marketing. So they didn't see the importance of it, or really know what it was, or how to start it, because bear in mind, they are experts within their field. So there was one space program startup company that I was helping there.
Okay, wow.
So first I'd never, it's not my area, but making marketing relevant to that company and really understanding that company was what I needed to do. So I did the research, went back to them, and then pulled on my marketing knowledge and made it relevant to that company. Fantastic.
Now, how do you see it going forward with the field you're in with marketing? And what's your company called? Do you want to?
Bespoke Marketing Limited. We're based out of York, and yeah, we provide bespoke services. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. We provide a very bespoke service. Exactly what your company needs is what we will provide.
Okay. How do you think it's going to be affected, the whole area you're in, by, for example, AI and outsourcing? Because we're seeing more and more companies who are trying to shift a lot of their work or services to cheaper people abroad. How do you think this will affect?
So that's
yourself?
Been happening, of course. I think you'll know as well. Outsourcing has been happening for God knows how many years.
Yeah.
AI is a great thing, and at first everybody was skeptical, and I think you've got to question when a new thing or a new idea or a software or algorithm comes out. You can't just blindly follow. And I'm going to go against the grain a little bit with my view on it, but again, it's the starting point. Everybody knows that. You can't use it as the end product. It's great. It will transform businesses, but it's not going to take everyone's jobs. It's not going to take over marketing or other such spaces, because at the end of the day, it is an algorithm. When you look at it, it's an algorithm. And whatever you pump into it, yes, it's learning and it's self-learning and all of these things, but it's still an algorithm. It doesn't have the human element. So where it's taking jobs, it's also providing new jobs, and it's tweaking jobs. So me as a marketer, there are softwares out there, and I won't name the software, but they are saying, get rid of all your social media people. and this is not coming from a defensive place. They are saying, get rid of everybody, pump in your company website and a few details, and we will regularly post for you on every single channel. We'll provide blogs for you. We'll post over, and all that. They'll take care of everything. And it's only about £15-20 a month. But when you look at it, the quality of it, yes, the quality will improve over time, but it's never going to have that human element. It's never going to understand trends, really.
Spot on. I use a lot of AI in my content creation. It's never perfect.
No.
You know, the hooks, everything like that. Sometimes I've got to jump in. I'll try and, even now, for example, the content I'm making with you, I'm going to use AI to chop it all up. The switching, it'll get right. That's an easy task. I don't want to be doing it. Get it to do that. The clipping, I'll get AI to do that. Even then, it won't always get it right. The hooks, it won't always get right. And sometimes even the reframing of the shots and everything, that it won't always get right as well. It'll try and give me the tags to use. And again, it's very good. It's a good starting point, but it won't always get it right. It's that, I would say, it's that flare of thought. It's, you know, it's just an algorithm, like you said, and it only has its defined boundaries, and it's not going to go outside of those. You know, and sometimes you've got to think outside the box, and it can't do that.
No, exactly.
You know, by its very definition, really. So, right, okay, but it's going to open up a lot of other opportunities, I'd say, for example, with content creation in particular, where if you use your own audio, and one thing I'm looking at doing is like a cartoon version of myself. I like doing my comedy stuff, right? Problem is that at this age, my kids are your age. They don't like me doing it, right? So I thought the one way I can get out of it a bit is to have like a cartoon version of myself. So that's the kind of things I'm looking at. But apart from that, I've been involved in, I'm a software engineer. I've been doing that for most of my life. And it's going to come along, it's going to take out a lot of jobs in that field over there. But you're always going to need someone to, it doesn't always get it right, and then it becomes a lot harder to fix. This is a problem. It becomes a lost cause after a while. So fingers crossed, let's see how it goes over there. But do you think for people of your generation starting a business, do you think, obviously you won't have, you know, you're a young guy, and do you think it's still as easy as it was for people of my generation, or do you think it's getting harder for people to start businesses? How do you see things going?
I think it's very easy to label something as easy or difficult. I think the opportunities are different.
Right,
Where we have an advantage, we may pick up software quicker. The older generation have the advantage of sort of experience and life skills that we don't have. For example, something as simple as face-to-face interactions and actually meeting people. We will lack in that slightly because of COVID and because of what we'd had to go through, where the older generation will benefit and they'll excel at. So I don't think one is better placed than the other. I think whoever wants to seek out the opportunity, it's almost not really a level playing field, but you can make it a level playing field. Just use everything you have and that you're good at to your advantage.
Okay, so Husnain, do you think COVID has changed the younger generation?
Yes.
Expand more.
I think the younger generation lacks vital skills, and this is what I was saying earlier, like the older generation can interact so much better, and the younger generation can be awkward, don't know how to interact with people.
Fully agree. Fully
Yeah.
agree. I'm seeing the same thing with lots of younger people. You've managed quite well here. You're very well spoken. I think that comes across really well. You're game to put yourself out there and go to networking events and talk to people. You don't see that with many of the younger generation. And I've often thought, is this mainly because of COVID? And yeah, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a lot to do with COVID. When you look at it, when, for example, with kids, COVID babies, they struggle to interact with people and in larger groups than a child who wasn't born during that period. And that's very telling, because if you're seeing it that early on, I'm not speaking from research or studies, I'm not, but from what I can tell and from what I can see, that is very apparent. And so when you come to key development points at your depending on your age, a lot of them are when you go off to university at that age or whatever you do, or go into work life, because if you've not done that, you're not going to have those skills that you're going to get from doing that. Because right now you can get so many remote jobs, and there are hundreds out there. Yes, they are competitive, but you can very easily get one, and you're never going to have to come face to face with anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So social skills are, I think, it's a better quality to have these days, or more valuable, really.
Yeah.
But going forward, how do you see things going for yourself the next 5 years in an ideal world? What's your plans here?
Luckily, I don't have to be in the country of where I'm providing my services. As long as I understand the target market of the country that I'm providing services, that's all well and good. I want to grow the company, but I'm not limiting myself. I think those are mistakes that I have made before, where limiting yourself to a certain angle in a certain area. Whether the opportunity comes about in the event sector, the event space, properties, that's something that I explored before. But wherever the opportunity comes, I will be there to sort of get behind that. Whether that's here, whether that's in a different country, whatever that looks like, I want to be where the opportunity is, and I will push myself to be there.
So Husnain, do you see yourself leaving here and going, for example, somewhere like Dubai or the Middle East, or seeking new opportunities elsewhere?
I'll never say no. I think it's got to be very thought through. Obviously there's been a trend for a very long time with everyone jumping ship to Dubai, but not thinking long term. Simplest of things, you're never going to get citizenship there.
Yeah.
Unless you have a stable income. So what's your plan? You're going to earn money there, you're going to come back here, you're going to get taxed at the rates here, vaguely speaking. So you're going to end up with a massive tax bill when you do come back, because you can't inevitably stay there forever. So people are skipping out vital bits. The cost of living there is a lot higher. I know it's tax-free salary, but have people really weighed it out to that degree? So it's not as easy as saying, right, I'm just jumping ship and I'm going, because the weather's nice and no tax and for a few years, or whatever that reason is. You've got to really collect every bit of data, really understand and have a plan when you move to such countries. And the Middle East is sort of renowned for this. You're not going to get citizenship there.
Yeah.
Saudi, yes, they are offering certain people citizenship, but you've got to spend a lot of money.
A lot of money, yeah. A million USD they're asking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you have that money to go there and set up your life forever there?
Yeah.
Because as soon as you stop working, they're sending you back.
This is it, yeah. You have to have an income there as well.
Yeah.
And I've interviewed many people, and they've been saying it's not as easy as what people think. You've got to go out there, you've got to generate a lot of money. The cost of living is quite high over there.
Yeah.
So, and they're saying, look, the one good thing about that is they're more positive in their outlook. Here, there's a lot more negativity, I'd say, creeping into the UK.
Yeah. Yes, I have noticed that. And that it's creeping into York as well, whereas before it wasn't there.
Right.
It's creeping in.
So, Husnain, in terms of business, how has this year been, and how do you see next year being for yourself? Because everyone's found it tough, more or less. Most people have anyway.
Yeah.
And so most of this year. And how's it been for yourself this year, being for you? Because we're coming towards the end of the year now. And how do you see next year being?
So this year has been good. I've had a lot of personal achievements. Just slightly before this year, I was sent up to London to meet the Sheriff of London for an Under 30 Young Leader of the Future award. So that was, again, personal achievement, working for these companies.
Right, hang on a second. Tell us more about this. Exactly what happened there.
So I was working in marketing. I was working with the ex-Sheriff of York at that time, and he was starting an events company, and they were doing New Year's Eve balls because that was a untapped market. So he set up a company. I was helping him with his marketing efforts and really getting York out onto the map and getting people to come. And we ended up selling out, and we got people to come from America, from Europe, from Italy, from everywhere. We had people coming. So that was the work that I did, and he put my name forward to the Sheriff of London, and then the Sheriff of London whittled down and invited me to lunch for the under 30s Young Leader of the Future Award.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Big respect. So how do you see next year panning out for yourself then?
I know I'm better placed. It's impossible to say how it's going to go. You can plan. There's too many changing factors. But I am better placed today to go into the next year than I was previous year. And that's because I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of setbacks. There's clients who don't pay, and you need to know what to have in place to mitigate that.
How often has that happened?
a number of times,
Right.
enough to not be a good thing.
Okay. Wow. Oh dear. That's something all businessmen, young businessmen particularly, need to be aware of. It doesn't matter how big or small the company is.
Yes,
Sometimes they'll make excuses
yes,
or simply flat straight out just not pay.
yes, and they can get away with it to a point.
Right.
Especially if you don't have the systems in place.
Right.
So have your business insurance, have your legal covers in place. So the legal department of your insurance company can go and get your money back.
Wow. Okay, that's a very good point there. Now, looking back on your career over here with your company, if you could go back and change one thing to do it better, what would you do?
I think maybe tap into other markets a bit quicker. But then again, it's a double-edged sword because I focused on here and I focused to understand this market better. If I had an extra person, it would have made things so much easier because I'd be able to have the time to be able to understand other markets. And maybe to a point, just going out there more.
Networking even more.
Yes, but even in different countries, go there.
Right, yes.
Just go there because you can message all you want, but people aren't going to respond. Especially LinkedIn in the Middle East, it's not the best thing for completely cold interactions. So just go out there, be where the people are, and don't go to the rubbish networking events where I know which ones are going to be good and I know which ones are going to be bad now because I've been to that many. But there will be some where everyone who attends, it's not your riffraff, but they are also looking to sell their service.
Yeah.
And so you're just going to be met with a lot of people who want you to spend money on them, not the other way around.
Okay.
So it's maybe if you are an expert in a space, try to do a speaking engagement somewhere, because there you've got maybe the directors and CEOs, decision makers of everyone in your sector, and you're the marketing knowledge base for them, and they're going to make that decision a lot quicker, and they have the funds for it.
Okay, so one final point would be with the young of today, what advice would you give them who are thinking of interested of starting up their own business? What advice can you give to them?
Do it, and in the simplest term, the more you plan and the longer you leave it, you're just going to keep pushing it away. I did that. I kept pushing it. I got another job and another one. But if I'd started sooner, maybe I would have been a lot further along.
Right.
That's one point. And the second point, opportunity is everywhere. Whether you live in the smallest town in the world, there's an opportunity. If there's a house there's an opportunity for properties. If there's a rental market, there's an opportunity there for the rental market. You've got to learn about it, really learn about it, do the research, but go out there and start a business. You have access to the internet. You've got everything at your fingertips. You can learn anything from YouTube, and avoid the gurus, because the online gurus, the fake gurus, it's a big scam. Anyone who says to you, we can get you 500 leads in the space of a month, and if not, we'll give you money back. They'll have a clause in there, because I know companies who've done this. They have a clause in there. If you say no to one of their ideas, that makes their payback clause completely null and void.
Right.
So they will include small factors. Look out for these, and you'll find them in their contract. But just go do it. There's no place too small or too big to start. Whichever country you're in, city, town, there's an opportunity for you, and just go out and do it.
Fantastic. Any more final words you want to finish on?
Just I'm a big believer in hard work. You're not going to get anywhere by just sitting and expecting good things to come your way.
Yeah, bed rotting isn't the answer here.
And I say that to my siblings and cousins as well. They're at a younger age and they will sit there in bed, but really push yourself, and you'll be surprised at where you can actually get, and you'll be surprised at what you achieve.
Fantastic. Husnain, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today, and I can see why you've been so successful, and I can see how you're going to carry on being successful in life with the attitude you've got, the approach you've got, the way you put yourself out there. You know, you don't stay in your comfort zone. You go out there, you network, you meet people face to face. You know, you're always thinking, what can I sell to them? What can I sell to them? The way you've retained clients as you move between places as well. Maximum respect to you, Husnain.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, and hopefully I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people here who are going to be inspired by yourself. And if anybody wants to reach out to you and get in touch with you, what's the best way of getting in touch with you?
So I've got my website, and if it's all right, I'll leave my link with you to put on top for my website, and they can reach out to me directly. I've got my mobile number on there, so any form of communication, reach out to me if you need any marketing.
People, right? Anybody needs any marketing? Reach out. I'm gonna link to him in all of these clips. So reach out to him. He'll give you a discount if you mention my name as well, Ranjha Saab. So brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming down today. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Cheers.